Douglas community.
Hiding because the recruiters would be at my house and everything. So I would go over there, stay over there every night till about 8:30. And then by then, all the recruiters would be left our home and everything.
56 different.
And then I would go home. So that's how I kind of kept everybody at bay because I had already, like I say, made a decision. And to be fair to
the
teammate, because I needed to focus. Not only did they need to focus, I needed to focus because I knew we was not going to make the playoff unless I was focused in order to get us there. So now, football season is going on, and everybody knew where I was going to go to college. Basketball season come out. I think it was the second week of December. It was National Signing Date where you could sign your scholarship early because the way signing date was back in those days, and it might be that way now, but I'm not sure.
But it'd be
you could sign early. You could sign your first letter in December, and then your official letter you would sign it in February.
Wow!
But it was during basketball season now. So Thursday. I get home that Thursday night, and my mother tell me, Joe Avezzano say you don't care what time you get home, you need to call him. This is the recruiter from Tennessee. She said, Joe said you need to call him. So I call Coach Avezzano, and I said, Coach, what's up? He said, look, he said, Saturday is signing day. Are you going to sign with me? And I told him, yeah, Coach, I said, I told you that from the beginning. I'm never going to change my mind because I was honorable enough that once I had told him I was going to sign, I was not going to change my mind. But in that process of being recruited by schools and different things, kids would tell you, yeah, I'm going here. And then when it's time to sign, they're going to go somewhere else. Well, my mother was not going to let me be that type of individual. If I made a commitment that that's where I was going, that's where I was going to go. So when I told him that I was going to go there, I was signed Saturday. But I say, Coach, I say, I have a little bit of a hiccup. I say, we have a basketball game Saturday. The game is at 2:30. And probably won't be back home till about 5:30 or 6 o'clock.
Because you were committed to your basketball team.
Because we had a basketball game.
You had a game, yeah.
We had a game.
Ross went here and all that.
And it was at 2:30.
Yeah.
And everything. So he said, well, I tell you what. He said, how about if I just, myself and Coach Johnny Majors, because Johnny Majors was the head coach at Tennessee.
Johnny Majors, yeah.
He said,
legendary.
How about if we just come over to your house at 6:30? We all be back by then. I said, Coach, I'm almost sure we'll be there by then. So here I'm thinking, okay.
So this your basketball season, your senior year.
Yes.
And something beautiful for they having this night.
Now Saturday afternoon,
and another team. Yeah.
I'm getting ready to fulfill my dream as being the first kid in my family to go to college. So we go to Turner High School for our game that Saturday afternoon.
Neighborhood rival team again. Turner.
I would say they wasn't one of our biggest rivalries because all we ever played them was in basketball. We never played them in football.
Oh, you never played them in football?
Never played them in football. So to not play them in football, I cannot say that
Did they have white kids over there?
No, not when we played them.
They didn't? Okay.
So I cannot say they was a big rivalry because we didn't play them in two sports. We played them, just in one. So, but still by them being in, because you know the way the city of Atlanta schools were for Harper, Turner still wasn't no more than 15 minutes away from Harper. So it still kind of made it a neighborhood game.
Right.
But they wasn't a big neighborhood game because we didn't play them in nothing but basketball. So we over there. First half, I'm having a real good first half of the ball game.
Rebounding good.
We going rebounding and scoring good. We go in the locker room and we're sitting in the locker room. Coach Ross talking over what we need to do for the second half, and Coach Portress, the football coach, come in the locker room. And in the 3 previous years that I played basketball, He ain't never been in the locker room at halftime.
Just some different
So
stuff happening.
he
here.
come in the locker
The
room
football coach
and
coming in the basketball locker room.
so all of us
That's
sitting
some
there
different stuff. Yeah,
wondering,
right.
what Coach Poacher doing here? So he said, hey, I need everybody to come out back into the gym. And Bobby, I need you to come with me. Now I'm wondering, what this all about? Because I knew I couldn't have been in no kind of trouble because I hadn't done anything to be in no troubles, and my mother would have killed me. So I knew I was not in any trouble, but it still was just, what is this? So we go out and
you're at another gym. That's what making this.
we
so
at Turner High School. We're
Yeah,
not at Harper.
You ain't Harper. They're making it real. Yeah, like.
So as we walk out, when me and him walk out, because he let everybody else go out first.
Mhm.
Coach Ross and all the players got walked out. Now him and I walking out. Now all these cameras flash.
Wow. Here we go.
And I'm still kind of not understanding totally what's going on. So I look up and there was my mother standing in the middle of the floor at Turner High School. So Coach Porcher and I are walking toward the middle of the floor. He reaches in his suit coat pocket and he pulls out my letter of intent for my scholarship.
Wow.
We get to the middle of the floor.
Wow.
My mother is standing there with an ink pen and she gives me the ink pen. Coach Portrait kneel down and
Wow.
I signed my scholarship at
Wow.
Turner High School
Wow.
on the back of my coach.
And AJC is down in Atlanta. And they
Not
catch-
only the AJC, every newspaper that was involved in the city of Atlanta at that time, because not only did we see
That's
people,
special, right?
a lot of people don't understand that we did
You
not
have a
only have the
scholarship.
AJC.
Mm-hmm.
There was another newspaper in Atlanta at that time called the Atlanta World. They was a black newspaper.
Was it based on Auburn?
It was on Auburn Avenue. See, you know history. So that
Did
they were
the
there
Atlanta World
too.
do this? Or who did
That came
I gotta
from
show
the
this one to the
AJC.
Here go the
See,
moment that
came
here go the
from
moment.
The AJC.
Legendary moments for legendary athletes. Signing his scholarship at a neighborhood rivals school in their gym at halftime, and we beating them in basketball, and the high quarterback coming this time. This is awesome. There we go. The icon, the phenom, the legend, Georgia High School legend. 3 sports. Signing his scholarship. Fit to take his career to another level. College. It's big time. I like that. Signing the scholarship on Coach Back. Check that out now. Who doing that? Who is doing that? Ain't no picture like that in Georgia nowhere, I bet. That's awesome, man. I love it. Golly.
And what I did not tell you, no,
That's
that day, not only was it special as far as signing my scholarship that day, I had my career high in points that day on the basketball game because I had scored some games in my high school career in the 20s, but I had never got up to 29 points in the game.
29.
I had 29 points. I had 12 rebounds that day and signed in a scholarship to go play college football the same day.
Ain't that something? You had great days. Now I'm looking at some of your basketball pictures right here too. You had a good year. Now this guy right here, you say he played a good part of role in your life right here.
He did. Ronald Skiro Walker. When I got on the varsity in the 9th grade,
That's a good
Skiro
jump shot.
was a lot more developed than most of us in the neighborhood for as athletics was concerned. And the main reason why, because he had an older brother that had went to Harper High School that had already graduated from Harper, that was an outstanding athlete.
Wow.
And he had a sister that was an outstanding
we got to
athlete.
we got to research. I'm glad you told me that. The research continues.
So by him having older siblings that were athletically, he was a little bit more advanced than most of us.
So
So
he took to you though, right? When you got in the ball club.
it took to me before I even got on the basketball team. It took to me after the first football game.
Wow.
At Harper, because before we go into the basketball story,
Yeah,
you would know this when you played B team football at Harper High School,
Mm-hmm.
and the game is at Harper.
Mm-hmm.
If the varsity gun played on Friday night, on Saturdays for that B team football game, all the varsity players and everybody else is up on that hill watching you play.
Yes.
So, already had a good name by the time basketball season started as a ninth grader, because all of the old guys had saw me play football.
Wow.
Plus, I had already played in
Right.
3 varsity football games. Now, basketball season come along. I'm a ninth grader. Ski Row was a 10th grader at that time. And every day at practice, Ski Row would always be making fun of me because I didn't know how to finger roll. I had an old ugly
Oh, you
hook
didn't know how to
layup.
figure out. Yeah, yeah.
Hadn't learned how
Were
to
you
finger
scoring
roll
basket
yet.
with that shot you had before?
Never missed.
Ain't that something?
Never missed that layup
Yeah.
because
Did you ever go back to it after you kind of developed?
it was pattern. Never went back to it. Coach Ross got angry at me
Oh, he did.
because
Coach
he
Ross.
loved that shot
Yeah.
because it was a high shot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a shot that couldn't be blocked. So Ski Roll would always be in practice messing with me. King, this is how you finger roll. So when we would be doing our layups, he always made sure he was in front of me where I could watch how he finger rolled, where I could try to pattern behind him
Right.
to do a finger roll. Because
But did your scoring go up? Did it enhance your game?
not as a ninth grader.
Okay, I got you.
Because I'm a ninth grader.
Yeah, you're a ninth grade at this point.
I'm
Still
just
developing.
trying to learn how to really play.
But he took to you, man.
But he wanted
Bad
me
boy
to
again.
learn how to already to be better. The thing about Harper High School athletes that's so special was this, and it's special to this day. Whether you are a younger athlete on the 8th grade or B team, or you on the varsity, because you wore that gold and black,
Come on now.
we took to each other
Come on
and
now.
we helped develop each other.
Yes.
There was no jealousy or animosity, and there was nobody looking down on you because you wasn't on varsity. We didn't care whether you was on varsity or not. All we cared about is that you wore a Harper High School uniform. So we was going to help you in any way we could. Because the year that my ninth grade year when I was on the varsity team, there were 3 seniors that really took me up under their wings. And I remember one particular weekday night, don't remember exactly what night it was, but we didn't have a game. So I know it was during the week. They came over down to the apartments, and these guys were seniors. Knocked on the door, asked my mother, could I go hang out with them for a while? And for a senior,
that's so much respect.
To come pick up a ninth grader,
Ninth grader.
to want the ninth grader to go hang out with them was huge. But it was not just because I was a ninth grader. It was because I played ball at Harper High School. And the thing that was so special about Harper, they knew they was graduating, getting ready to go to college. If they didn't go to college, do whatever they needed to do. They still wanted the next generation of Harper High School athletes to still be good. So they took me up under their wing, and I remember when because I never forget him. One of the guys have passed now. His name was Randy Foster. The guy who had the car, his name was Eric Dennis. When they asked my mother, could I go hang out with them? She said, yeah, Bobby can go with y'all. And I went and hung out with them till, I don't remember exactly what we did, but for them to come down there and knock on the door to take me with them.
For you to carry that thing on.
They knew I was supposed to be the next generation of showing the next young guy at Harper how to be a Harper High School athlete.
Let's recap a little bit. I'm seeing some great things about you, man. Just like the community took to you. Your mother brought you here. She took to you. You know she loved you. The community took to you. Coaching staff.
Yes.
Teammates. You know, hey, come on, Bobby. You're great, man. You're taking this all in stride, man. What kept you so humble, man? Because now, look coming around the corner now. You're in the ninth grade. You finna have the AJC newspaper, the media coming at you. You still got ball games to play. Your girlfriend go to the other school. We got a lot of things going on. How you stay humble, man? Still just show up every game and when every season, and we ain't even talk about baseball yet.
It comes from the home that I was raised in.
The home that you was raised in.
Because the one thing that you know, a lot of people know my mother, because my grandmother passed my 7th grade year of elementary school. So that's how I moved. I made a transition from living with my grandmother to living with my mother. But the thing that a lot of times when people hear that you grow up living with your grandmother, the first thing that comes to people's mind is that your mother's not in your life. Well, my mother made a decision to allow my older brother and myself to live with my grandmother, where my grandmother would not be alone. But I saw my mother every day. So it wasn't like I never saw my mother.
Your mom was young and she was just trying to make her way through it.
And we had I had 2 younger sisters. So my 2 sisters lived with my mother. My brother and I lived with my grandmother. So when my grandmother passed when I was in the 7th grade, and I moved with my mother in the 8th grade, my grandmother lived in Allen Temple, which I would have been a Douglas High if my grandmother
you could have been a Douglas High.
I would have been an Astro. But by my grandmother passing, I moved down with my mother. Now,
where mom moved to? Where her mom had moved to?
My mom at the time, my mom lived in the same place at the time. She lived in Suburban Coast Apartment, which was a lot of people's Hopper area. And a lot of people they might not know Suburban Court Apartments name, but they'll know this. At the corner where Fulton Industrial and M.L. King get ready to meet when it's split, you can go down the hill to Fulton Industrial, or you can go this way to Martin Luther King. Those apartments on the right there is where I grew up at. Right. So when I moved with my mother, and now I'm getting used to this neighborhood because I'm getting ready to go. It was my grandmother died in maybe 4 months before I'm getting ready to transition over to high school.
Wow. And so, but you was on the way, possibly going to Douglas.
That's where I thought I was going, the Douglas High. So now I'm moving to the Kaya Park community.
Kaya Park.
Nobody knowing me. I'm not knowing anybody.
If you were 18, right? No, you were how you were about 16?
When I moved over there, I was 13.
I was 3. I ain't nothing about being on track. Wait, I was on my way. Go ahead.
See,
go ahead,
and what was so crazy? What was so crazy about that
right.
transition and moving over there is that, see, a lot of people saw me as when I started playing ball at Harper High School, because you asked the question, what kept me so humble and everything. I was always a very shy and not a very talkative kid. I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself other than when I was on the field.
Yes.
On the court. That was when I let my confidence reign supreme. But after the games was over, I was I would say I was an introvert. I didn't do a lot of talking. Didn't have a lot of self-confidence. So how can I be anything but humble, especially coming from a humble family with my grandmother and my mother? And now I'm a kid that, okay, I'm getting sports accolades, but I'm still not really understanding everything yet. It's not clicking to me yet that what's going on.
Wow.
So I was always very humble, and a lot of people who don't know me well don't know that every girl that I dated in high school, except one, my best friend got her for me, because I was too afraid and did not have any conversation to go over there.
Friend to go get a girlfriend. That's good.
Talk to her. I I didn't have enough confidence in
funny, right?
myself
That
to go
was
be
funny.
able to talk to them. So
That's funny.
all I had to do was tell
Big time
him,
athlete. That's something.
hey,
That's something.
man, I like that girl over there.
But look, what happened when you started turning touchdown? Did it change up a little bit for you? Did it go? Did it
I didn't. I still never was one of them that seeked out and talked to a lot of girls. Oh, all I had to do was tell him.
Athlete in Georgia, come on. Man.
But all I had to do was tell him, hey, I want her.
Right.
See, it was an ulterior motive behind that with him. He would always say, well, you know, if she ain't got no friend,
right. It was
you got to choose a girl that got a friend. Because he was always looking at himself too. Yeah, you know. So it was one of those things that it was easy for me to be humble because I didn't have a lot of self-confidence. But you come to a ball game and then you see me at the ball game, and then you see me walking the halls of Harper High School on Monday, you would look and say, that's not the same guy that just got through playing ball, because I didn't say a lot. I did not, you know, my senior year is when I guess come out of the shadow a little bit by being a little bit more open because of all the things that had happened to me leading up to my senior year. But before my senior year, I didn't do a lot of talking.
But you know, when you have people around you that sees the talent and sees the raw talent in you, not just on the field, just seeing a great person, the characteristics you got. I think your coaches and really the people pulled you because they wanted so much from you. So, what coach really influenced you that had you on the field at 2:30 every day? The kind of play. Do you think he installed your confidence in you?
Coach Earl,
yes.
You know, I would. The two greatest coaches that I ever had in my life, because I've had two men that was great in my life, but neither one of them were my coaches. My older cousin, John Bryant, which is 20 years older than I am, he taught me everything I know about how to be a man.
Okay.
Because he was like my father figure. Taught me everything. I always hung out with him, and that was so funny about being with him because he lived 5 minutes from Southwest High School. So I was always at his house. So the people in that community thought I was going to go to Southwest High School because I was always at his home.
Right.
So he was a great influence on me, teaching me how to be a man. And my brother is 10 years older than I am. So by having those two men that started something in me before I get to high school, already had a little something in me.
Right.
Now I get to high school and
where the toughness come in? Where do you think that come in? You had to get tough somewhere.
My mental toughness came my first year of high school. Well, the first year of varsity.
When they threw you in that
I would say.
Losing bad.
No, it came the beginning of the season. And the reason why I say it came in the beginning of the season, my 10th grade year, that was Coach Earl's first year at Harper High School. So here now, you got a kid that's trying to win the job to be the starting quarterback. And you got a 25-year-old coach that had just graduated from college coming to coach at a high school. So Coach Earl came in with a mentality that I needed because here I am.
You think
I don't know nothing about.
He was kind of connected with you a little bit.
It did.
Yeah.
And I didn't know nothing about mental toughness, but he was young.
Right. Okay. Here we go.
So he just finished his college career.
Playing quarterback too, right?
Played quarterback and played point guard on the basketball team at Clark Atlanta. So here you bring a young coach in with a mentality that he had, young mentality. Now you got a kid that's raw talent, hadn't played yet to do anything. So
but he see it in you. He see this raw talent, right?
And he said,
how did he come to you and display to you that he knew something was in you? Because it seems like a lot of coaches kind of came up to you in this manner.
He did. Well, what Coach Earl did was, see, a lot of people don't know the first game I played in on varsity, I was not the starter. The first football game I played in, I started at free safety.
Oh, you was on the defensive side of the football.
I started at free safety. The
Okay.
actual first game I started,
Mhm.
I started at free safety.
So that was one. You played in 34 varsity ball games.
34 varsity
You
ball
quarterback
games.
30 games.
I quarterback.
Okay, I did my
30.
research on that one. On
Yes.
that one. That's great. Okay.
So now here it is. The second game of the season, they decided to start me at quarterback.
What happened? How did that just happen like that?
Well, we lost the first game of the season. You know, it's so funny
What
that you
kind of
would
quarterback
ask me that.
what kind of
The
quarterback
guy who was the starter, he was a junior, and he was very helpful to me. But the thing of it is, I think that was different than his game and my game is that Coach Porteous had the mindset that he wanted to be a passing
Yeah.
offense. The other guy was not a passer like I was. So I think that was why they made the change. But what was so surprising is how quickly they made the change. Now, we didn't play for one game.
Mm-hmm.
First game of the season, we play at Lakewood, we lose. Second game of the season, we getting ready to play Avondale out at DeKalb Memorial. Now,
Is that like an out of town game back then?
it was because it's in Decatur.
Yeah. Like, okay, we gotta go
And
way out
here
there.
you are going out to
We gotta
Decatur,
go way out
and
there.
you get ready to play against an all-white school.
Mm-hmm.
Because you used to play in all the kids in the city of Atlanta, which was all black. So now we go out to Southwest. We go out to Avondale. Avondale was all white at that time.
Wow.
In 1970, this was 74. Avondale was all white. No, excuse me, it was 75. They was all white.
Wow.
So now we go out there. I start the game. We lose 6-0. Undoubtedly, I didn't play that well because we lose 6-0. So undoubtedly, in my mind, I didn't play that well. Monday come around. The bell rang for first period. I'm walking to my first period class, and Coach Earl was in the hallway because at Harper High School, everybody who knows about Harper, when the bell rang for you to go to class, the teachers are in the hallway.
Right.
They're in the hallway making sure we taking our tail to class.
Right.
So Coach Earl was in the hallway. Called me over to him and said, I need to talk to you about something. I said, okay, Coach. He said, look, this is the program from now on. The bell rang at 2:30 because we got out of high school at 2:30 at Harper at that time. He said the bell rings at 2:30.
Young Coach Earl.
At 2:35, you need to be dressed and on the field, ready to go.
The beginning of a legacy.
Now, I'm not
You
going
don't
to
know that
argue
about
with that.
it.
I don't. And I'm kind of excited about it because I figure, okay, practice don't start at 3:00. If I have to be out there 25 minutes before everybody else, I'm going to get some one-on-one coaching now.
Oh, wow.
So I
Did
was
you look at
excited
that?
about
Did you look
it.
at that like that then?
No, I didn't.
Coach, you like Coach.
All
telling you
I
to come
know
out there,
is
you
the
couldn't
coach
get-
said be at the field at 2:35.
But as you
I'm
went
gonna
on,
be
it kicked in.
it started developing. So now
Awesome.
here we are out there the
That
first
made-
day.
it helped make Bobby Kings.
The first day of practice, he started teaching me ball drills because the first thing Coach Earl would have me do when we get out there was get on the knee, know how to raise the ball up over my shoulders.
Mhm.
So he was starting to teach me the fundamentals of how to play a quarterback.
So you hadn't actually. Well, you played a little B team then.
I had played B team, but I had never had formal
You just
training.
had the good, just athletics in B team. You made
Never
things happen.
formal training.
Never
Now
formal training.
here I got a guy that had just left college
Coach Earl.
that had been formally trained,
Yeah.
starting to teach me. Okay, that we would do that for 5 minutes. Then he would have me turn to the left to know how to shift my shoulders and be able to turn.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting formal training of how to be a quarterback.
Mm.
And I remember these words that he said to me before the team got out there. All these things happened the first day. He said to me, and so that tells me he knew what I could be way before I did. He said, look, let me tell you something. He said, the reason why you're going to be out here as long as you're the quarterback for Harper High School at 2:35 every day, if you win, you're going to get all the glory. Your name going to be in the newspaper. All the girls in school going to be hollering at you. Because Coach Earl, like I say, by being 25, he was just say all the girls going to be hollering at you. So you're going to get all the glory. So if you're going to get all the glory, you going to work for it. That was his word. That was it. You going to work for it. So
that's why you wind up at this school.
for
right
my next 3 years on the varsity, every day when that bell rung at 2:30, at 2:35, I was on the field going through a 25-minute workout before the rest of the team would have to be at practice.
Golden Helmet winner, 3-year MVP for his football team. 10 times Player of the Week. Bobby King, Phenom High School, Icon High School legend on the high school level. Sports. It's been an awesome interview here today on the locker room, and we're gonna kind of just keep it going for a little bit more while. How you feeling right now? You take a little.
I'm great. I'm great. Want to share one thing with you, if it's okay.
Yes, sir.
We're speaking about that 10th grade year, because that was when I feel like my foundation was set as a ball player at Harper.
Okay.
Not only on football, but on the basketball team too. Just didn't understand it until later on. My 10th grade year, we had a horrible 10th grade year. Didn't win but one football game. But the thing that turned me around as an athlete was like I was saying, was Coach Earl, because we could be down and then we come out the locker room at halftime and Coach Earl would be standing beside me and he would say, "What's the score on this scoreboard?" And we might be down 28-0 or 28-7 or whatever, and I would tell him the score. He said, "Look at it again. Tell me what the score is." And I would tell him what the score was of the ball game. And he said, "Okay, let me explain to you something. The character of a true athlete is how hard they play when they lose."
Come on.
So now here I'm saying, okay, we getting killed, but I still need to be playing like the score was 0-0. So that mentality carried over into my basketball play and into my football play. Because what he was trying to get me to understand is that regardless to what the score is, you still need to be playing like the score is 0-0 and as hard as you can play. So now this now we probably at week 7. Still hadn't won a game because we didn't win a game till I think week 9.
You was leading the team in quarterback.
I was leading the team.
Were you catching a lot of criticism from the
man.
fan, student body? How were the teachers in the community? What about this community that loves you?
Man.
Everybody that said you were so great. How did you get through this, man? What mama say?
Game 5. My mother was very supportive.
Did she know what was going on? People talking bad about your son?
She didn't know the things that people were saying to me because she didn't know. So here I am, week 5. We getting ready to play. I had a favorite meal that my mother would cook me every Friday if we had a game on Friday, or she would cook it for me on Saturday mornings if we had a game on Saturday. My favorite meal that my mother would always fix for me would be liver, onion with rice and gravy. So this Friday morning, I got dressed, got my Trojan jersey on because we wore our jerseys to school every Friday.
Right, game day.
Because we top dog at home. So I'm sitting there and I'm playing over the food. And I ain't never played over no food a day in my life. And especially liver and onion. So my mother said to me, "What's wrong with you this morning? Why you not eating?" So I said to her, I'm thinking about quitting. She said, "You thinking about quitting the football team?" I said, "Yeah." And the response from her was something I was definitely not expecting, because my mother had not at that time had not been but to 4 football games to see me play because my first year on the B team, my mother never came to not one B team game. She was afraid that I was going to get hurt. The varsity year, she didn't come to the first game, but my brother and my cousin kept talking to her about coming to the ball games because they kept telling her, "Body can play, body can play." So now she's been to 4 football games, and I'm sitting here telling her I'm thinking about quitting. And she said, "Why?" I said, "Because the student body talking about me, talking about I'm messing up the seniors year, and why is a 10th grader the quarterback?"
Wow,
And
it was coming down.
it
on
was
you
like
hard.
that. And if anybody know anything about Harper High School, the people of Harper and that community, they don't talk behind your back. They talk about to your face.
West Side
They'll
Talk,
say it
they
behind
come
your
straight-
back.
straight to
They'll
you.
say it anywhere and any way they
Anytime.
want to say it.
Yeah.
So,
So you was catching it hard.
oh man, I was getting killed. So when I said that to her, my mother looked at me with a stern look and with her little old 5'4" self and said, "Push my food away from that table and get up from here."
Mhm.
So I got up and was on my way out the door, and she met me at the door. And she looked up at me, and I'm looking down to her, and she said, "Baby, let me tell you something." She said, "If they talking about you tonight, give them something to talk about."
Mm, mm, mm.
So with what Coach Earl was already teaching me,
Uh-huh.
now my mother telling me,
Yes.
always give them something to talk about.
Mhm.
That Friday night might have been my first 300-yard passing game.
The power. It's the power.
Because she was basically telling me, I'm from a strong Christian family. So in other words, what my mother was telling me, and I didn't know it at the time, and she didn't elaborate on it because she didn't do it as according to the Bible, but what she was basically telling me was, hey, they talk about Jesus. So if they talked about Jesus, you can expect them to talk about you. I didn't. That ain't what the way she put it, but she just put it to me. If they gonna talk about you, give them something to talk about. So from that point on, I wanted to always make sure that the student body of Harper High had one thing to do anytime I played basketball, football, or baseball: have something to talk about. Because that's what Miss King told me to do. Give them something to talk about. So that's what I tried to do.
I really love it, man. I really love hearing your testimonies because what I'm saying is you was a kid who was really put in a lot of great situations for people coming to you, right? And
I
liking
was. I
you. And
really
then
was.
you accepted it with so much, grace. And then tell me a little bit about your new principal, Mr. Irons. How was his relationship with you?
When I
being
got
a
to-
superstar football player there.
Mr. Irons was outstanding to me. A lot of people who don't know me and who don't know my story as far as my mother being very ill, I'm gonna tell y'all something now that it's kind of heart touching, but it's my life. It's the life of Bobby King that nobody that on this side would know. Mr. Irons came to Harper when I was in 9th grade. And so now, we got a new principal and everything. 10th grade year, I'm a ball player. Now, undoubtedly, Mr. Irons know who I am now because my 9th grade year, all he knew was I was a student at Harper. But now I'm a 10th grader. I got made a little bit of a name for myself as a football player. So Mr. Irons know me personally now. My mother is an asthmatic, real bad. Had asthma extremely bad. Sometimes my mother would be in the hospital 30 days, 60 days at a time. And with us living in the small project complex we lived in, we didn't go live with none of my family while my mother would be in the hospital. I was capable of doing everything. I knew how to cook, and so I could comb my sister's hair, get them to school. They went to Adamville Elementary School. So during this particular time that my mother was in the hospital on one of these occasions, I get to school about a quarter to 9 that morning because by us not having a car, and at that time I'd have been too young to drive it, I would have to catch the 57 Collier Heights to Adamville, then get on the 56 Adamville to go to Adamville Elementary School, then reverse that project to catch the bus back from Adamville Elementary School up into Adamsville, then get on the bus to go to Harper. So that was time consuming.
Then you was a quarterback. Then you had a lot of things.
So now I get to school this particular morning and I'm late. I walk into high school, walk in the front door, and Mr. Ines, as he normally do, he was one of those principals that did not sit in his office a lot. He was always out in the hallways, making sure we was doing exactly what we were supposed to do. So when I walk in the door, who do I see in the hall was Mr. Ines. And he said, Bobby, come here. I walked over to him and he said, why are you late to school? And I said to him, I said, Mr. Ines, I'm late because my mother's in the hospital. He said to me then, don't say another word. Follow me to my office. So I went into his office with him and I explained the situation to him that my mother was a bad asthmatic and that she had been in the hospital. At that time, she might have been in the hospital 2 or 3 weeks before he caught me being late to school. And I explained to him that I would have to take my sisters to school and then I would come to school. He told me, he said, look, when this happens, when you come to school from now on, you come to the office, you tell my secretary that you need to see me. If I'm not in there, you ask her to buzz me over the intercom and I will come to the office and I will walk you to your classes and take care of everything for you from there. I don't believe the next 3 years of my high school career, and during those 3-year period of time, my mother was in the hospital for a lot of times, and some of those times would be long stays. Nobody at Harper High School ever knew it but Mr. Ines. So he protected me.
Wow, man, that's some great testimony. You went on, you took on a lot as a young guy, and you took on the challenges, and you accepted those challenges. Mother, sisters, principals, coaches, community. You know what I'm saying? You took on all those. They kind of gave you little challenges, but you took them on, and they showed you love, man. That's why you sit right here today. This school called Douglas High now.
Yes, sir.
I kind of call them like a little brother school, but on the for real though, with you being a superstar at this time, you kind of taking off and kind of going to the next stratosphere of your career. Do you have somebody look up to you that played ball over there at that school over there?
Well, as things started to develop for me now at Harper High School, I'm in the 10th grade. And in the summer, I always went across town to visit my father and my other siblings. And my youngest sibling at the time was 9 years old. My father had passed away going into my 10th grade year. My father had never seen me play. So going into the summer of my 10th grade year, well, it was before my 10th grade year because my father passed my 9th grade year. Passed in April of my 9th grade year. So now here it's summertime. I'm getting ready to go into my 10th grade year. I went up, spent the day with my younger brother, stepmother, and everything over in the Boulevard area. So my stepmom brought me home. My younger brother was in the car, and so I told him by that time I may have won 3 trophies, maybe 4 at that time. So I had starting to have a few little trophies, and the way our apartment was set up, when you open up the front door, my mother had the first thing you could see on that first wall was a stereo, and it had my little trophies that I was starting to win on that stereo.
Yeah.
So when I invited my brother in to see my trophies and everything, he was so excited.
Little
He saw
brother.
my trophies and everything, and because we didn't live in the same household, he didn't have a clue that I had won some trophies because we didn't live in the same household.
Wow.
We had the same father but different mothers. So he lived in a different household. So when he saw my trophies, he was so excited. He ran back out to the car, jumped in with his mama, and said, "Mama, Bobby gonna won some trophies. When I go to school, I'm gonna win me a bunch of trophies like Bobby." Well,
Wow.
that little brother that I'm speaking of was an outstanding athlete at Douglas High School by the name of Terry Martin.
That just, man, when you tell me that, man, that just take me somewhere. Your father, man, did you know him? Did you know him?
I did.
You
Knew my father well
Mhm.
because
Terry Martin, his little brother. Y'all got to freeze that.
the
Y'all don't know what he just said just then. Can't let them go in your head. Look him up. Terry Martin, Douglas High. He might have taught Chris. Who do the guy?
Chris followed Terry.
Chris followed Terry.
Chris did-
went on to play against Michael Jordan and all the world.
Terry went to Auburn first, and then Chris went to Auburn behind Terry. But Terry was the
Terry
leader
Martin.
of the pack at Douglas
He used to
before
tear
Chris.
the rim to the whole building down. Well, his brother did it first. So he had to get it from his big brother. From the one, the only Phenom high school athlete right here, sitting down with us right here. Man, that's some great history we getting here. I know it's a couple of, oh yeah. Tell me how when you made your